to say that the term anti-Semite is an ingenious term used to evade critiquing European Jews. So the moment you offer any opinion of critique to European Jewry, all of your said remarks will be considered anti-Semite. So the term anti-Semite essentially is a ploy to evade critique, because the moment you begin to offer your opinion and or critique them, you are automatically labeled an anti-Semite. And this is a very ingenious strategy to avoid being condemned, being critiqued, or even allowing people to share a basic human right, their opinion. I will admit it's an ingenious ploy on their part. However, it's horrendous overall. It's horrendous. I want to say that Nick Cannon is absolutely right. You cannot be anti-Semite and you are a Semite.
Right.
Nick Cannon himself is a Semite.
Right.
Nick Cannon has, from what I understand, the ability to prove who he is and to prove why he says the people of the book, the people of the Bible, and the people of the diaspora are the true Hebrews.
Right.
To what extent can he prove it? I don't know. I don't know Nick Cannon to be a scholar on Hebrew history. But what I do know is the brother has taken the position to stand on that truth, knowing what can come from it. So I got to give him hella respect. There's a lot of celebrities that are aware of this truth. Some of them we converse with behind the scenes.
Right.
Many of them are afraid to go public with the information.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I gotta respect Nick Cannon, because he's among the celebrities that's unafraid to go public with it. It's no longer a secret who we are.
Right.
The challenge now is who has the gall, who has the strength, and who has the ruach, or the spirit, to go public to stand for their God and for their people. Right. And with Nick Cannon doing that, I say we got to give the brother tremendous respect and, more importantly, tremendous support. He's definitely going to need support from our community. The community doesn't need to know if Nick Cannon is a messianic or non-messianic. All of that is null and void in the face of the truth he's speaking.
Right.
All that we do know is that he acknowledges that we are the children of Israel. And that's a powerful affirmation in a time like this from a celebrity of his status.
Right. Listen, the way they made it sound, it's like he came out and said, the hell with Jews, or like he was just talking bad about Jews. What he simply said is, the identity, how can I be anti-something that I am, right? He was having a discussion with Professor Griff. Professor Griff, he was speaking actually with Professor Griff about his stint with Public Enemy and why is it that he got in trouble back in 1989, 1990 for some of the comments, some of the quote-unquote inflammatory comments that Professor Griff made back then. And Professor Griff started to explain as to how he got into, he was doing an interview with a reporter, and it was a black reporter, but he had a Jewish girlfriend. Jewish girlfriend came into the room, and automatically things got uncomfortable. And next thing you know, he said that his comments were plastered all over the Village Voice. Professor Griff spoke about how he sat at the feet of all the the great conscious teachers, and how he got all this knowledge, and he was just simply saying, how can I be something that I am? How can I be anti something that I am? And then he used the analogy of, like, if you stole my bike, and then you took my bike, and I got a little bit older, and I came, and now I'm coming to see you for my bike. You might have painted it, you might have changed the wheels on it, you might have changed the steering wheel on it, but I still see that that's my bike. You know what I'm saying? So I'm coming to get my bike back. So that's the analogy that he used in reference to our identity as true Semites being taken by European people and them putting on the coat. So on my Facebook timeline, I put up the definition of a Semite. So what is a Semite? And I want you to hear this and see what you get out of this. Semite as a noun, a member of any of the various ancient and modern peoples originating in the southwestern Asia and southwestern Asia, including the Akkadians, Canaanites, Phoenicians, Hebrews, and Arabs. A member of any of the peoples descended from Shem, the eldest son of Noah. What do you get out of that? Now remember, a member of any of the various ancient and modern peoples originating in southwestern Asia, including the Akkadians, Canaanites, Phoenicians, Hebrews, and Arabs. So I know you have an extensive knowledge of a lot of these ancient people. Can you give an explanation of these people and how these people would have looked?
Absolutely. So, beginning with the Akkadians, because they have the greatest antiquity. There's a
Right.
people called Akkadian before there's a people called Hebrew.
Right.
There's a people called Akkadian before there's a people called Canaanites. So we're going to begin chronologically where history affords us. So the Akkadians are certainly Semites, originating in northern Mesopotamia. The first Akkadian king is a man named Sargon. There are pictures and sculpted figures and paintings of Sargon that reflect him having broad nose, thick lips, and what will be categorized today as African or Negroid features. On top of that, he's always depicted in Akkadian art as being black, just as Akkadian people are depicted in Akkadian art as being black. The people of those regions depicted themselves as being a people of color, which in today's language, that would essentially mean they are black people.
Right.
The Akkadians speak of themselves as being part of a greater nation called Sagiga, which is the original term for the Sumerians, and Sagiga means the blackheads.
Mm.
And that terminology, although it goes much deeper than skin color, the reality is it still does cover their skin color.
Right.
So the Akkadian people from the outset are depicted in art. There's a relic in northern Mesopotamia today. It's called Tel al-Mari, or you can type in online M-A-R-I paintings, M-A-R-I paintings, and you can type in keyword Akkadians. So Mari paintings, Akkadian, and you'll see how the ancient Akkadians depict themselves in art. I have all of that on my phone, but I might not be able to share it with you.
Okay.
But I'm going to try to share it from my iPad right now, and then just hold up my screen so the listening audience can see.
And by the way, I'm recording this so that we could link these notes back in later.
Okay. So here we go. The first thing I'm going to show you is how the Akkadians are painting themselves. And the Akkadians are referred to as the eponymous ancestors of the Semites, meaning the first. The earliest Semites, historically speaking, are Akkadians. And
Right.
this is how they're depicted throughout history. Let me show you. Let me see if I can share my screen and then bring it close. Can your audience see that?
Absolutely. Brown skinned people.
Brown skin people. These are Akkadians. Read the sign.
A brief
It
introduction to Sumerians.
Right, but these are actual Akkadians. So if you
Right.
go online and you type in, as I did, Mari paintings, Akkadians, M-A-R-I, paintings, Akkadians, you will see how Akkadians depict themselves in art. I'll show you another one. This one is perhaps even more telling than the former, because watch this.
Definitely brown skinned people.
Definitely brown-skinned people, right?
Definitely.
Definitely. Look at him.
Yeah.
So these are the earliest Semites. Now,
Right.
if you want to get to Semites in biblical era, let me show you how Egypt depicts the Hebrews, which, as you just read, are also Semites.
And just for our people on Facebook who are looking on us on Facebook Live, please share the screen. This information is very pertinent and very important. And it's very important for us not to let the media control the narrative. We know what a Semite is. You, in your dictionaries, and your explanation of a Semite is right in your dictionary. So the brother Nick Cannon, when he made the statement, it's not a racist statement. It is not a racist statement to say, how can you be anti-something that you are, right?
Right.
Let us
Absolutely.
go, brother.
Now, what I'm about to show you is a news clipping from Haaretz, which is a Jewish magazine published in Israel.
Right.
They show in their magazine, in their newspaper,
and Haaretz means the land. Haaretz means the land, right?
Right. Haaretz means the land.
The land.
This is probably the New York Times of the land of Israel.
Okay.
All right. It's pretty much their dominant newspaper.
Okay.
In one of their articles 2 years ago, they have a depiction of what the Hebrews were depicted as when they lived in ancient Egypt. Now look at this.
Brown-skinned people.
That's right. In fact, I mean,
brown-skinned people.
If I was to hold my finger near the picture, I mean, you could probably tell
Same
how
shade.
dark these people are.
Yeah.
Right? Now, this is from the tomb of Khnum-Hotep, who was a pharaoh in Egypt.
Right.
And this shows Hebrews coming into Egypt during the Middle Kingdom period.
Right.
So what I want to say is, in looking at some of those bits of evidence, it is crystal clear that the original Semites are certainly a people of color.
Right.
And if you track and trace their record throughout history, Semites have always lived throughout Mesopotamia and northern Africa. Now, a particular group of Semites, popularly known as the Hebrews or the children of Israel, due to war and captivity, they are pushed further south into the interior of Africa.
Okay.
This is even recorded in the Talmud, which is predominantly today the go-to literature for European Jewry. Right. European Jewry will open the Talmud before they open the Torah to confirm that something is true.
Yes, they do.
This is a fact.
Yes, they do.
This is a fact.
Right.
So if we go to the book of Sanhedrin 94a, you're going to see a question asked. The question is, where did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, cause the exiles to go? The answer is Africa. Clear as day. Sanhedrin 94a in the Gemara of the Babylonian Talmud, which means that not only is Nick Cannon right in saying that he is a Semite, therefore him making anti-Semite remarks is horrendous or silly because he's a Semite himself. But here's the facts. Even the Talmud acknowledges that the children of Israel went deep into the interior of Africa and actually went to the west coast of Africa at that. That's also outlined in the Talmud as well, that we wound up on the west coast of Africa. Here's another thing the Talmud discusses. There's a portion in the Talmud that says, what color were the original children of Israel? Right. This is in the tractate dealing with Zara'at, which is, the skin eruption, leprosy.
Right. Leprosy.
And in that particular tractate, the commentator or the rabbi says, the children of Israel are as the color of boxwood, neither white nor burnt black, but brown. One thing is absolutely clear: no white person would ever describe themselves as brown. Right. But certainly, the people who are called black, in all reality, we are really brown.
Right.
So in the Talmud itself, it makes it clear that the children of Israel are a people of color. On top of that, it tells you that we went deep into the interior of Africa, even to West Africa, where today we know that is where the transatlantic slave trade primarily occurs.
Right.
So Nick Cannon is saying it's horrendous or silly for me to be an anti-Semite because I am a Semite. He's absolutely right. But more importantly, the Jewish establishment is in full acknowledgement of this. Don't be fooled. And in
Okay.
part, the reason why Nick Cannon is now labeled an anti-Semite is not because his remarks don't reflect any truth, is because his remarks do reflect a truth that they wish to keep covered. And
Right.
that's the scope of the conversation that we need to discuss.
Right.
Nick Cannon is now opening Pandora's box for a greater conversation.
Right.
Because now we have to talk about the identity of those blacks in America, the Caribbean, South America, the UK, and even in the interior of Africa.
Right.
Which, biblically speaking, these are the children of Israel.
Right.
That's a conversation European Jewry would rather not be held.
Listen.
Because they know who those people are.
To all the people on Facebook, I see we have 22 people viewing right now. I need you to share this. Share this with your friend. We need to have this discussion because we cannot be silent when things like this come up. We have to show who we are. We have to show the identity of who we are and what we are. Also, and I'm going by their definition, Chief. I'm going by their definition and their dictionary of what a Semite is. We know biblically who Semites are and what they are, right?
That's right.
By scripture.
That's right.
But we going by their definition. We're not saying anything outside of the line of what they put in the books.
That's
so
right.
I go back and say, a Semite, as a noun, is a member of any of various ancient and modern peoples originating in southwestern Asia, including the Akkadians, Canaanites. Now, can you please explain who the Canaanites are, my brother?
All right, so the Canaanites are a people of the Levantine region. This is an academic term for the land of Israel, also known as the Levant. These are a people whose history is recorded predominantly throughout what's called the Armada Period, where you have pharaohs like Akhenaten, you have pharaohs like Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut. This is the history where you begin to see a lot of Canaanite interaction with other nations, such as the Mesopotamian kings, as well as the Egyptian and even Ethiopian kings. They are heavily documented during the Armada period. Just to give the general audience a brief description of what that period would look like, we're talking about the conquest of Joshua coming into the land of Israel. So we're now embarking about 1300 BCE, before the Common Era. Right. This is the era that you can find the most literature, the most artifacts relating Canaanite history. Canaanites biblically descend from Ham. That is their progeny. That is their ancestral lineage.
A quick question. And who do they say Ham is? In their books, who do they associate Ham with?
Right, so European Jewry and Europeans on a whole associate Ham with Black Africa.
So the question is, if in their dictionaries it says that a Semite are Canaanites, and to European Jewry, Ham is the Black Africans, then wouldn't that make Black people Semites?
Exactly. Of course, it would be very clear because
I'm sorry for cutting you off. I just wanted to highlight that point.
No, I'm glad that you did that because the fact that they include in their dictionary something we disagree with. We wouldn't necessarily categorize Ham as a Semite. But as you said, if we're going to still borrow from your own definition, then by your own definition, the term Semite is certainly descriptive of people of color, because even the Canaanites, by your definition, fall under that description. Right. Faulty as it may be, but going by your definition. Now, we don't even need to piggyback on that because, again, the historical record is clear. The earliest Canaanite nation are the Akkadians. And the Akkadians are always depicted in art as being a very dark-skinned people. Very dark-skinned people. In fact, you can go to those regions today and, contrary to popular opinion, that's what you will discover. The moment you reach what's called the Indus Kush Valley, or the Vedic regions, India, the moment you reach that region, those regions of Mesopotamia, you are once again in black lands, so to speak. You are once again in black land, so to speak. So this is very, very important information for more reasons than one, because I think that what Nick Cannon is going through is going to actually spark a much greater conversation that should have been on the forefront for a long time now. But again, European Jewry tends to control the narrative when it comes to the media. And any opinion offered against the opinions that they offer is automatically deemed as anti-Semite in nature, which again, to be very clear, you cannot be a Semite and be anti-Semite. It doesn't make sense. I cannot be anti what I am, especially when I make it clear that this is what I am. So I think that the conversation that Nick Cannon is sparking is beautiful. And I think that the Black community, especially those in the Black community who identify as Hebrews, need to give him their full support. I would hope that he also reaches out to members in the Hebrew community that he deems, effective, to be able to aid in his defense, because they're coming for him. That's for sure.
Right.
And he's going to need the entire community behind him, or else what he's saying is going to be written off as hogwash.
Right.
So if he stands alone to make these claims and he's not supported by a community, then he will get drowned out in the European media. This is why we have to stand with our brother during this time, to make it visibly clear that what he is speaking is a reality. We have Hebrews that have been living this all their lives. I'm only 41 years old. I came into this at 14 years of age. When I walked through the door, there were people that were in their 70s that told me they were born in this way of life. So this is nothing new for our people in this country. We can go all the way back to the era of your Rabbi Matthews, your Rabbi Josiah Ford. We're talking about pre-Renaissance Harlem.
Right.
That's major, because pre-Renaissance Harlem is even before Marcus Garvey.
Right.
Because Rabbi Matthews was teaching in Harlem before Marcus Garvey got there, and certainly Rabbi Josiah Ford was. This is how they were able to help become major members of the UNIA, because they already had a footing in Harlem before Garvey arrived there. And Nick Cannon needs this information. He needs people in the community that have that intellectual backbone that are effective in supporting him.
Right.
Because it's going to take a lot to fight what is about to come. And they're coming at him full force. And one of the reasons why they're coming out at him full force, no one wants to awake a sleeping lion. And in the best way that I could find to describe the reality of many of our people not knowing who they are is akin to a sleeping lion. A sleeping lion is of no trouble to you, but the moment he wakes up, things will change. And that's a change that I believe, and many like me believe, European Jewry does not want to see. Our story just needs to be given a microphone. We don't need to raise a hand. We don't need to become violent. All we need is a microphone. The moment we're given free space and time to speak our truth, all lies will fall to the ground. This is why I notice Nick Cannon is being demonized for what is called anti-Semite remarks, even though history shows Nick Cannon looks like the original Semite. So check that out. But he's being demonized for those remarks. But there are cops walking around right now with blood of the dead on their hands, still holding their jobs. And they're not even being demonized by the same media that is attempting to demonize Nick Cannon for his socio-political views. That's insanity at its best. Because if the killers of if the murderers of Breonna Taylor have still not been brought to justice, yet Nick Cannon is being demonized for his difference of opinion, that goes to show you that racism is still alive and very palpable in the heart of America.
Hello, Chief?
I'm here still.
Oh, all right. I was wondering if you was able to hear what I was playing in the background.
No, I didn't hear what you
You
played
didn't
in the
hear it? All
background.
right.
But you could tell me. You could play a clip and then tell me.
No, I'm really trying to play this clip with Nick saying what he said, and I'm going to give it another test, and then when you hear it, you just give me a thumbs up or something, or you tell me that you hear
Okay.
it. All right?
Okay.
I mean, what I will do is when I edit this video and I put it up, I'll clip it right in.
Okay.
I'll clip it right in. But what he's speaking about is in the construct. He said there is no hate in this. He said we need to have this conversation.
That's right.
And the thing is that they don't want to have this conversation because scripturally, right?
Yes.
Scripturally, they will have to admit that the children of Israel were people that were melanated people.
That's right.
Right? The original children of Israel, what you would have to say were melanated people. Just by the simple fact of where we dwelt at, the people we interacted with, the people that the forefathers married, right? And just the way the people look. The Semites, the original Semites look. We interacted with the people that God told us not to marry the Canaanites, right?
Yes.
We married Canaanites. Joseph married an Egyptian woman.
That's
Ancient
right.
Egyptian were people of color.
That's right.
Judah married a Hamitic, a woman from Ham, a Hittite, I believe. These were people of colors. You know what I mean? So all of these people that came out were people of color. They were not Europeans.
That's
You know
right.
So when we speaking about Semitic and who the Semitic people are and who the children of Israel is, right? How can you make someone, like Nick say, how can you make someone that is Semitic anti-Semitic? That is impossible.
Right. That's right.
And the thing is that they do not want to have this discussion with us because we will have to go straight into scriptures and not into the books that they like going into. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like you say, even if we go into the books that they like going into, right, it will still prove there that that the children of Israel were people of color. You know what I mean?
There is no literature that European Jewry has that they can use to justify the statement that Semites don't look like Nick Cannon. Even the literature they read from every day, they chant from every day, that they pray with and meditate with every day, is replete on one fact. The biblical children of Israel are certainly a people of color. When the children of Israel are seeking to evade other super world powers, namely European world powers, when the Greeks and Romans come and invade the land of Israel, the children of Israel or the children of Judah begin to flee. They do not run in the north to go and immerse themselves among the European tribes who they look like, because they do not look like European tribes.
Right.
What they do is something that they have always done throughout our history. They go into Black Africa to hide because they can easily disguise themselves with the culture of Black Africa because they already fit the physical look of Black Africa. And that's the conversation that we need to have.
And then the other thing is the so-called Falashas, they don't call themselves Falasha. They call them Falasha. Beta Yisrael, right?
Like saying nigga.
Right. Beta Yisrael, which what they like, meaning the house of Israel, which they like to refer themselves as, they have a history from where they flee from the southern kingdom all the way down through Egypt, all the way where they ended up into Ethiopia. They have a written history
They sure do. It's called the Kebra Nagas, the glory of the kings.
The glory of the kings. And through that history, right? And when you look at those people, they're brown skinned people. They're Beta Yisrael. You
That's
get
a
what I'm
fact.
saying? The other thing is that why doesn't the media show the mistreatment of all the African refugees in Israel and how the Israelis, the Europeans that are there, are calling those people Kushi,
That's
right?
right.
Which is a
That's right.
derogatory term for which is equivalent to calling someone a nigger.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
fact.
You got your I seen an article where or there was a report on YouTube where the head of the sports association was calling the black players that were coming to play in their leagues, he was calling them Kushi. He was basically calling them niggas. And you got all types of stuff going on in Israel when it comes relating to black people that's negative, right? When these people used to go and donate their blood, when they had blood drives, they would throw their blood in the garbage.
That's
right?
a fact.
These are all things that they used to do, right? And no one speaks about their racism. Nobody speaks about the things that they do. Nobody speaks about none of those things. No one is perpetrating a hateful. No one wants to speak hateful, but you have to speak the facts. And the facts are that there's news coming out of Israel that shows the mistreatment of melanated people in Israel.
Yes.
So you guys are not impervious to what you got coming to you. You guys, you put on someone else's coat, and now you're going to try to penalize someone for not even saying something racist or anti-Semitic.
That's right.
To what you say a Semite is. So, these are the things that I wanted to discuss. These are the things that I wanted to talk about because people don't have understanding. I hope that this reaches the people that it need to reach, because speaking to Israelites like preaching to the choir. But I hope that it reaches the ears of people that are becoming more conscious. Nick Cannon cannot have made an anti-Semitic remark when he is a Semite.
It's impossible. Just like European Jewry wouldn't charge a European Jew with making an anti-Semitic remark because he's a European Jew. We deserve that respect because we actually can quantify that we are the Jews of the Bible through his historical record and the biblical record. So whether we want to go into the literature of the Bible and the Torah and even go and include the extra biblical literature such as the Gemara or the Talmud, the literature that they are predominantly using today, there is no literature that they can go to validate that Semites look like them. This is the reason why if you speak with the average European rabbi and you ask them genuinely, what was the color of the original Hebrews of the Bible? 75% of them will tell you the original Jews of the Bible were a people of color that can in fact be described today as black or African because of their facial and their skin feature. But they say after they went into Europe that they became white.
They became white.
How convenient.
Listen, I've had that testimony. I seen that testimony by a European Jew, right?
Yes.
I remember one day we were in a jewelry store in on Utica. Those of you who live in the New York City area in Brooklyn, New York, who've lived there before, on Utica and on Eastern Parkway in Utica, there was a jewelry store there. I walked in there with Prince Paul and I believe it was like two other brothers. We were in there, and there was a brother who worked in there. But there was also a Jewish man who I assume owned the store, but he was sitting like in the front part of the store. So, our brother from Trinidad, I believe he was, or Guyana, one or the other, he kept teasing the Jewish man. He said, you see, these is the real Jews. This is the real Jews. This is the real Jews. And you know what that Jew said? He said, I know. He said, I knew from when I was 8 years old that the original Jews were people of color. But then he turned around and looked at that guy in East Man and said, but what are you? Do you know what you are?
Right.
And he threw it right back at him. So they know. They're taught this. But
Oh,
they're
they
also
definitely
taught
know.
to hide this from us. You know, and people are going to misconstrue this and try to call it racist talk. But it's not racist talk. It's a fact. We went academically, we went to your definition of what a Semite is, and that does not check any European, right?
Well, here's some truth and here's some reality. I want to share something with you.
Okay.
So if you actually go online and type in the Hebrew word kushi, here is what you will find online when you type in the Hebrew word kushi.
Hold on for a second. I'm going to type it in and I'm going to share that with the audience. How did you spell it, my brother?
Kaf, Wav, Shin, Yod.
Oh, you did it in Hebrew.
Yes.
All right. I don't have that application, but let's see.
See, the thing is, if you type it in Hebrew, which is, you got to figure, the people who are searching Google
Right.
utilizing Hebrew are
Right.
European Jewry. So when you type it in Hebrew, Kushi, look what comes up. You'll see a bunch of racist websites that are European Jewry in origin. They belong to European Jewry. European Jewish-based websites mocking black people. One of them is a picture of a black guy called Sambo. This
Yeah.
one says, Nigger Joe's Tarso.
Yeah.
I got
Because
that by typing in Kushi in Hebrew. When you click on it,
put
it's an
the
article.
kushi right at the top. Let it focus on the camera. The kushi,
Okay.
how you spelt it. You
Okay,
said
hold on.
Kav Shin. They got Mark Anthony, the wrestler. Oh my goodness, these people are.
Can you see it?
Move it over, right there. You almost had it, right there. Center it, right there. I see it. Kav Shin. Right, what I'm seeing, Kav Shin.
Kaf Wav
Wow.
Shin Yod.
Shin Yod. All right. Kaf Wow Shin Yod. All right.
Kushi.
So this is what they got as Coochie. They got Sambo.
Yep.
They have Mark Henry, the wrestler.
Yep.
So this is what I'm talking about. You know, this is what I'm talking about. This is, you know, these people have been demoralizing people. They've bought into the same propaganda that the Western media has perpetrated of black people. Everybody in the world, in fact, has bought into that. Anywhere you go in the world, they think a black man in this diaspora is being dangerous and as being a threat and as being less than. When you go to China, it's the same thing. I don't want to lose my point, and I want to stay focused on exactly what is it that we're talking about and the topic that we're talking about. But Nick Cannon should have never lost his job because of these people, of the comment that he made. Oh my goodness.
That's an Israeli website
Kushi.
based in Israel.
Wow.
It says nigger milk in Hebrew and English.
Wow. And it's a website in Israel.
Yep. So here's the thing. Nick Cannon is being called an anti-Semite, but it's being fueled from racist European Jewry who looks at Nick Cannon just like they look at this child. So it's a known fact that today the term anti-Semite, it's simply a ploy to evade critique. The moment you offer an opinion different or against the state of Israel or European Jewry, you will automatically be labeled an anti-Semite. Doesn't matter what you say. What you say could be non-threatening. What you say could have nothing to do with, attempting or trying to disrespect them. The moment you offer an opinion that differs from their narrative, you will be labeled an anti-Semite, which is horrendous because European Jewry most of European Jewry, I mean, let's just talk the facts, Chief.
Let's talk
Most
it.
of European Jewry, 85%, and this is the current statistic, by the way, 85% of European Jewry is Ashkenazic.
Talk about it.
Ashkenaz means of German stock.
Talk about it.
That means they acknowledge their origins, hence why they call themselves Ashkenazic
Ashkenaz.
Jews.
Right.
You cannot be Ashkenaz, which is a Japhetic
Right.
line,
Germanic.
and also be a Semite. It's
Right.
impossible.
Right.
It's impossible. Even if you look at the cultural expressions of European Jewry. So, for instance, you're in Brooklyn, New York, and you're walking down Kingston Avenue, and you're about to approach Eastern Parkway. You
Right.
more than likely are going to see a European Jew, no matter what time of the year, wearing this. Watch this.
I'm glad that we're having this conversation because so many of our people are lost and they're so afraid to speak up. We're not, Nick Cannon didn't say anything racist. He didn't say anything anti-Semitic. He just spoke truth to power,
That's
which
right.
they don't want to hear, you know?
That's right. Let me show you something. Do you see the hat that the European Jew is wearing in this photo?
Right.
This was worn by Germans since the 14th century who were non-Jewish. They were not Jewish. This was
Right.
worn by medieval people in the region known as Germany today. And it's part of German culture.
Right.
European Jews who grew up in Germany and adjacent lands, they are reflecting European culture when they wear this. This is not Semite culture.
Right.
Nowhere throughout the Middle East will you find anything like this.
Right.
So
Right.
in more ways than one, even their look reflects their true ancestry and their stock. This hat belongs to Germany. It is worn by Germans first who are non-Jewish.
So what do you think we go from here, Chief? What do you
Well,
think as a people and as a community we should do? Because, you know, Wildin' Out, the kids love Wildin' Out. You know, every
Right.
now and then I watch Wildin' Out. You know, I enjoy it. I enjoy freestyle rhyming and, you know, and it's a form of the dozens. You know, that's what we do in the community. We rib on each other and we do all things like that. Nick Cannon was I don't want to say safe, but he was trying to open up people's minds to,
Right.
you know, he wore a turban. He tried to do certain things to open up people's mind. If somebody like Nick Cannon, you know, who was in our eyes is very safe and was trying to be, he was trying to watch his words so much, right? And they still got him. I still believe that they got him because they hate Professor Griff, right? And Professor Griff made comments years ago, and because he was sitting there with Professor Griff, and Professor Griff was very comfortable with him, they wanted to make Nick uncomfortable, right? And they go ahead, my brother.
If I could share something with you for
Right.
just one moment, as my means of trying to give some substance to what's really going on and
Right.
what is really being planned, Nick Cannon published his interview with Professor Griff July 31st, 2019.
Right.
We are in July right now. That's a full year ago.
Right.
The timing is perfect.
Right.
European Jewry has been aware of Nick Cannon's words since he published this interview that went viral a full year ago. But Nick Cannon right now is on the precipice of releasing the Dr. Sebi documentary. That's what
Okay.
people are not talking about. And that's
Okay.
what this is about. This is not about what Nick Cannon said. This is more so about the Dr. Sebi documentary that's set to release in a month.
Okay.
Remember, there's something called an opportune time, right?
Right.
Right. So an opportune time is when we choose the right time for a cause or an action.
Right.
Nick Cannon made these statements over a full year ago. A full year ago. As of 2 weeks from now, it will be a full year that Nick Cannon made these statements that he's now being demonized in the media for. Nick
Right.
Cannon is on the precipice of releasing the Dr. Sebi documentary. How
Right.
convenient and or ironic that the moment the media decides to attack Nick Cannon for these quote unquote anti-Semite remarks is the very moment in time he's about to release the Dr. Sebi documentary. So as an intelligent black man first, what that tells me is that this is deeper than Nick Cannon's statements about him being a Semite and it being impossible for him being an anti-Semite. This is truly about Viacom not wanting to associate themselves with Nick Cannon while he's producing the Dr. Sebi documentary. We have to look at the bigger picture. There's something much greater at hand.
And you're right. Let me see. This was 11, I have it up here 11 months ago. Cannon class with Professor Griff talking about all topics. So I don't know if he must have recorded it a year ago, but he must have just put out the full interview in, it says 2 weeks ago. I don't know how true that is. I'm looking at his page right now, Nick Cannon. I see a part of the interview, like a minute of the interview was put up about 11 months ago.
The full interview has been out for a full year.
Because
I got it here with the date, July 31st.
Oh, wow. Wow. And now is when they coming at him?
Precisely. This is why I know this is much bigger than Nick Cannon's statements. Listen, Farrakhan has made very similar statements. Right. There have been other black leaders that have made very similar statements. Right. Khalid Muhammad, may he rest in peace. Our beloved elder, he made those statements, I want to say, even before Farrakhan is noted as making those statements. Right. This is not anything new in the media's eyes. Black people have been saying this for years now. Nick Cannon is one of the latest ones. However, right. They chose this particular moment in time to speak right. out against him because right. Nick Cannon is on the precipice of publishing the Dr. Sebi documentary, right. which Viacom, who owns BET, VH1, MTV, and many other media outlets, they do not want to associate themselves with Nick Cannon while he is the producer of the Dr. Sebi documentary. Because the Dr. Sebi documentary hurts the white establishment, whether you are a European Jew or not. It just simply hurts the white establishment because it shows you that what Dr. Sebi was working towards, many European governments throughout the world, or the white establishment throughout the world, is trying to stop. There is natural ways to heal your body that the white establishment does not want people to be aware of because hospitals are big money today.
Right.
Hospitals are big money today, not because they offer the cure. Hospitals are big money because they offer the treatment.
Right.
And the Dr. Sebi documentary is as dangerous as Dr. Sebi being alive. And we already know how that played out.
Right.
So what Nick Cannon really needs to be aware of is what we should be looking at this. This is a warning for Nick Cannon. And Nick Cannon knows this, by the way. I'm right. intelligent enough to know that he knows this. Nick right. Cannon knows exactly where the hidden hand is. He right. knows this is bigger than the anti-Semite remark, which is why if you read Nick Cannon's rebuttal to everything that's going on, he is clearly saying, I know for a fact this is much bigger than what I said.
Right. Yeah, because if the interview's been out for a year and you just pick this time right. now to highlight what he said, right, and to put that on Front Street, then that means that this was done with an agenda.
That's
this
right.
is all timing, right?
That's right?
It seemed like everything that's happening with the people going out into the streets protesting, with everything that's been happening, they trying to, whether you agree with Black Lives Matter movement or not, whether you agree with anything, it seems like anything that we make noise about, all these alleged shootings that are, well, not alleged, or all these shootings that are happening that allegedly we're doing to each other, right? And I am not a if you know me, Chief, you know me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Whenever people start speaking conspiracy, I shut up and I just listen, because when I shut up and I just listen, that means probably don't really agree with it, but I'm not going to disrespect whoever agrees with it. But
Right.
when you think about everything that's happening, when people went out into the street and started protesting to defund the police department, they didn't mean to not have police on the beat and not have cops patrolling the neighborhoods. What they meant with is take some of that money from them and open up centers. Take some of
That's
that
right.
money from them and open up places to where our kids could go and enjoy themselves. They took all that away from us, right? But now all of a sudden there's a spike up in crime, right? Everybody is out here shooting crazy. All of a sudden, although there's cameras and stuff all over the place, and you're not finding these people. So what is really going on? And I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
So I'm looking up online. The release date for the Dr. Sebi documentary is September 2020.
So it's right around the corner.
So it's right around the corner. It's literally 2 months from now. September 2020 is 2 months from now. So 2 months before Nick Cannon is slated to release the Dr. Sebi documentary, Viacom parts ways with him. Why do you think that is? Viacom has been aware of what Nick Cannon said for a full year now. But 2 months before the release of his Dr. Sebi documentary, they have separated him. So here's the thing I want to say to you and the listening audience. What do you think has been occurring behind the scenes for the last year? They have been in his ears asking him in more ways than one
to not put it out.
Release that documentary.
To not put it out. By the way, we got 62 people on Facebook Live right now.
Shalom.
Just to let you know that you have a lot of people are interested in this topic. I think that is pertinent, and we have to speak about it. When they come after our people of status, Nick Cannon is an outstanding citizen. You know what I'm saying? Amongst the youth, amongst our community, he does positive things. And for you to come after him, go ahead, Chief.
It's funny that this is happening like this because I'm close friends with Brandon T. Jackson, who's an actor that recently acknowledges himself as a Hebrew, right?
Right.
So it's only because I had such a busy schedule today that I was unable to answer his phone call. But we haven't spoken in quite some time. So I can just imagine, I know why he called me today. It's to share some news about his buddy, Nick Cannon.
Right.
Him and Nick Cannon have worked on projects together. They've even worked on films together.
Right.
So Nick Cannon has people in his ears and in his environment that is certainly fueling him with the right information. Nick Cannon is connected to the Hebrew community. Make no mistake about it. Brandon T. Jackson is a close friend of his. Nick Cannon also has other friendships. And then clearly, the biggest elephant in the room, how do we evade YouTube and social media? The biggest growing, quote unquote, black organization in this country right now are those quote unquote black Hebrew Israelites. It's impossible that Nick Cannon would not know about the community.
Right.
Hence, you can expect him to be audible on these things, especially when he makes it clear that he is in belief and in receipt of them.
You see, I think what the fear is, you see, they see a lot of the brothers in the streets, right? So it's easy to discount them as being, they just a crazy hate group, right?
Right. Yeah.
But now you have people in the mainstream saying this, and they're not yelling and screaming. They're actually saying it with a calm voice. They're bringing up receipts, and they're showing you. And this is now a problem, right? Instead of sitting down and having the conversation, just like when you sit down with Harry Rosenberg. Harry Rosenberg had to admit.
Wait.
Huh?
Say that again?
No, I said that.
Sat down with him?
Yeah, where you sat down and you spoke with him, right? Or you had a conversation with him, right?
We had a conversation online.
Yeah, online. He had to admit, who we were. He came to, he didn't want to let it go completely, but you have to understand and know who you are. You know what I mean? And who we are.
If you really want to get technical and you really want to get to the point, Brandon T. Jackson, who acknowledged himself as a Hebrew Israelite, he was on Wild 'N Out, which is the Viacom show that they took away from Nick Cannon in the year 2015.
Right.
And it was around this time that we started to see Nick Cannon do what? Make a lot of shifts in the
Right.
area of black militancy
Right.
and of black awareness.
Right.
And I know for a fact from talking to Brandon T. Jackson that he certainly talks with Nick Cannon about the Hebrew lifestyle.
Right.
So again, it is just absolutely clear to me that when Nick Cannon says it's impossible for me to be an anti-Semite, how can I be anti against myself? It's because Nick Cannon is in full acknowledgement that he's an Hebrew Israelite.
That he's a
First
Hebrew
and
Israelite.
foremost, Nick Cannon also identifies as a Moor. There's no Moorish group in this country that doesn't call themselves Hebrew Israelites.
Right. Keep on talking, Chief. I got him. There's a lot of people bugging me that they want to call in. I don't know if you have time to, or you have to go teach your class right now. I'm not sure.
If they're calling in to ask me a question, I'll wait. But if they're calling in to speak, then I'll go and go back to my class. If it's for me that they're calling in, I'll stay a little bit.
All right. So does anyone have any questions for Brother Zion Lexx in regards to what we're speaking right now? Because he does. I did take up a lot of your time and tell your class that I said, please excuse me. But I thought that this was a pertinent subject that we needed to discuss in order to, because so often in our communities, you know, they attack us. And, you know, with everything that's happening, with the George Floyd incident, with all of the situations that are happening around the world, right? All of the situations that are happening around the world, we need to be aware of what is it that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? We need to be aware. Okay. So we need to be aware of what is it that they're doing. They're trying to switch up the narrative and change the narrative and try to make it seem like, you see, they're racist. They do racist things. This is what they do. Blase, blase, blah. They did it with Deshaun Jackson, right, a week ago. Deshaun Jackson wasn't a factor. You could have pushed Deshaun Jackson to the side. You know what I'm saying? They tried to do it with Steven Jackson, but this is what they do to try to get us away from the points.
That's right.
This is what they do to try to blind us, to get us away from the point so that now we start to get docile and we don't continue to speak up. But what we need to do is stick together as a people. We need to see what next move Nick Cannon going to do, and we need to boycott whatever it is that they got going. You know what I'm saying? We need to boycott whatever it is that they got going, because that's where our power is at, with our dollars. If we stop supporting them, they have to placate to us.
That's right.
The people just showed you in a couple of months that when the people get together and they do things, that they have to placate to you. We got some reform. We got some changes made. You got cops arrested for murdering someone, which never was done before. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
These are things that we have to see.
That's a fact.
Right.
That's an absolute fact.
All right. Will you, Brother Zion, join Nick on the podcast to help him bring understanding to the masses? This is from Leslie Hines Dudgier. I'm sure, absolutely, that Zion Lexx, I could speak for him. Go ahead, Zion. You did. There's a sister online that said, would you join him? I hope she has connection with him.
Absolutely. You know? I would definitely speak on Nick Cannon's platform. I would definitely speak on his podcast. He's a brilliant brother. His views for Black people are amazing, especially being so young. But more importantly, he's also a brother that has a great understanding of how to pool capital and how to galvanize it towards the effectiveness of growing the community. Nick Cannon has a very successful run. And Nick Cannon is proof in the pudding of what it takes to grow your investment, which your first investment is always yourself, how to grow your investment and make it work for you. So Nick Cannon is a brilliant brother. Obviously, myself and Chief Uzziel, we do the podcast thing. So, you know, doing a podcast with him is definitely something that I'm up to. In fact, it looks like I may be on the phone with Nick Cannon, if not tonight, tomorrow, because I'm sure that's what Brandon T. Jackson was calling about. So I'm pretty sure we may actually be able to get an interview out of Nick Cannon within the next couple of days.
Right.
Do not quote me on that, but I have a strong sentiment towards that.
Listen, brothers and sisters, we have to stay woke. We have to stay aware of what's happening, of how they shifting the narrative, how they trying to and I'm in here looking for a chord because people want to call in and speak to you, Zion.
Okay. Okay.
I'm trying to find the right connection in order to put you through.
The good thing is that we have other teachers in the class, so we have someone else taking over the class right now.
That's great. Toda, yeah.
And just so you guys can see, we are live. Can the audience see my MacBook screen?
Right. That's beautiful right there, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for all of you that didn't know, our brother Zion Lexx, he teaches various classes. Chief, can you tell them all the classes that you teach and the hours and how they could reach you before I start taking calls from
thank you very much. So I do Hebrew courses throughout the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. No classes Friday through Sunday. So I do in the morning, 10:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. I do a morning class with children and grown adults, all in one class. We do biblical Hebrew and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs all in one. We also teach history, because for me, to teach language and not mesh or blend it or marry it with history is asinine. So I have to connect language with a historical discussion. So we talk about the history of the biblical children of Israel, the history of the Hebrew language. We talk about the history of the Medunetta, also known as hieroglyphs. We talk about the history of the ancient people of Kemet, also known as the ancient Egyptian people. We do that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the adult class at nights. And on Thursdays, I teach a Hebrew and hieroglyphic course to children during the day or the morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then adults from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. with the Hebrew Academy of Detroit. The Hebrew Academy of Detroit, which is joined to the Detroit Academy, the Detroit University. So that when you graduate from this particular Hebrew Academy, the certificate that you get in our class is recognized by the University of Detroit.
Oh man, you're doing big things, my brother. So I just wanted to give my brother that plug because I'm actually pulling him away from his class right now. But he is, he my brother, and I know he goes above and beyond for me sometimes, and I don't like to bother him too much because I know he's a busy man. So that number is 347-622-9090 if you got questions for our brother Zion Lexx. And for the sister who typed in the room, whether or not he wants to sit down with Nick Cannon, absolutely he will want to sit down with Nick Cannon. And absolutely I would like to do a podcast with Nick Cannon and my brother Chief Avdiel so that we could get to the bottom of this. Because you see, when they come after our brothers, we supposed to have our brothers back. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. And these are the things that we have to be aware of. These are the things that we have to be ready for. They going after Nick because he might not have. He has a perspective and a ground roots understanding of what it is that he's speaking about. But Brother Zion Lexx could get in depth, and he could sit down with an actual European Jew and have this conversation with them. And I could sit down with him and go from the scripture and have a conversation with him and show him his own hypocrisy and show him through their advertisement and through their media their own hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? It's not about racism. We passed that. If you know me and Zion, we don't speak the white man is the devil. We never speak that. We never say the white man is the devil. We never say any of that stuff. That's not our speech. We strictly deal with facts, with what's written in the Torah. My brother Zion could take it a little bit further with his understanding of other books, which I don't have understanding of, and we could meet you on them grounds.
That's
and
right.
We could discuss it on those grounds. without having to scream and yell, and we just open scriptures and let's see if you know scriptures. Let's see what it says and what it means. Let's understand why ancient Egyptians were people of color. Let's understand all these things. Let's understand how Joseph married a ancient Egyptian. You know what I mean? A woman. Let's understand all these things. Who Moses married? It says Aaron and Miriam was upset with Moses because of the Ethiopian woman that he married. Ethiopian women were women of color.
That's right.
Ethiopians are people of color. So this is all through the Tanakh. I gave the number fast. 347-622-9090.
Could I share a story with you?
Kane.
So there's a hieroglyphic inscription that dates to the Middle Kingdom period. It talks about an Egyptian official who is running from the then Pharaoh or the then king, and he runs into Mesopotamia. He runs into the land of Israel, and he hides there for over 10 years.
Right.
He's a new Pharaoh comes to throne, and he's given a message. He's told to return back to the land of Egypt. His life is no longer sought.
Right.
He's afraid because he knows that what he did would leave him liable to corporal punishment.
Right.
So he's afraid, but somehow they convinced him and he went. When he came back into the land of Egypt, you know what the Egyptian record says?
What it says, my brother.
No one recognized him because they thought that he was one of the Hebrews.
Wow.
You know what that says?
What it says, explain it to them.
The Egyptians have a record that the Hebrews look just like them too. Just like we have a record that says that we look like them, they have a story where one of their high officials was mistaken as a Hebrew when he returned.
Someone is calling from Detroit, Michigan. Let's see what they have to say. Shalom, shalom. You're on live with me and with Chief Uzziel and Chief Avdiel Levi, also known as Zion Lexx.
Shalom, shalom. This is Samuel out of Detroit. I'm the Chief and I'm the Minister of Information and Chairman of the United Nations of Israel, and I would like to connect with everyone.
Okay, shalom, shalom. Can you hear him, Zion?
So that's the only thing. I absolutely cannot hear anything.
All right, speaker, give us that introduction again, brother.
All right, shalom, shalom, family. My name is Samuel Yasharala, and I'm the Chair and Minister of Information for the United Nations of Israel, our nation, your nation, one nation under the Most High Almighty Yah. And I'm here today to connect with my brothers and sisters to speak on behalf of nation and come together as a nation, because it's time for us to put down our differences and rise as a nation and raise our banner. And I would like to give information about our flag that we have so that we can put down Black Lives Matter and put in the hands of our people that Israelite lives matter.
Okay. So, Zion, can you hear him?
I can hear him loud and clear. Shalom,
Hallelujah.
shalom.
Okay, my brother. Thank you for that. You got any information on that?
Yes. Please take down my phone number. I am local. I am in Detroit, Michigan myself.
Right.
But we do have a website. You can visit our website at www.yahwillgather.us. I will repeat that. www.yahwillgather.us. And my phone number is 313-530-3628. I'll repeat that, 313-530-3628. And an alternate phone number for me is 313-595-7975. Okay. And I would like to get in on the discussion with Nick Cannon as well. I actually had a conversation with the brother that's in California, Jackson, Brandon T. Jackson, and we talked several times about issues concerning this, and I would like to get on that conversation when it happens.
All right. I'll keep you in mind, my brother. Thank you for calling.
All praise. Hallelujah.
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 So that number is 347-622-9090 if you have any questions for our brother Zion Lexx. You know, it's a funny thing that, you know, and this was impromptu. I called you a half an hour before this started, and I said we have to discuss this because we have to come for, it's enough of just hiding and just talking. We have to have these social conversations. We have to have these discussions because so many of us get drugged down, and we get the label of anti-Semitic, and we are the most oppressed people in the world. You know what I'm saying? We're oppressed more than anybody else. We got Brother Saed from Wichita calling. Shalom, shalom, my brother.
Shalom, shalom. Likewise. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You busy at the present moment?
Oh, I thought you was listening to the program. You calling me on a personal conversation right now?
Man, if I'm on you to show you I love you, man.
Oh, I love you too, my brother. I thought you was listening to the stream on Facebook. Yeah, we having a discussion. We having a discussion on the firing of Nick Cannon from Viacom because he allegedly made some anti-Semitic remarks, which is based. Yes.
I seen that. Am I on right now?
You're on live. You got 60 some odd people listening to you, and you're on the phone and on the line with brother Chief Avdiel Ben Levi, also known as Zion Lexx.
Oh, I know Zion. Shalom, Zion. Shalom, all my brothers and sisters, and y'all. Maybe y'all did this for a reason. I want to let the people of the nation know, and DCB know, and Zion Lexx. I love y'all, brothers and sisters. Let's work together. Let's get ahead. I didn't even know I was on. I ain't know nothing's going on. But while I'm here, I want to let everybody know I love y'all. Let's uplift each other amongst the nation. And I was just calling Uzziel just to let him know I love him and tell him he gave a fire message last Shabbat. But since I'm here, all who listening, I love you all. Let's uplift each other as a nation. Let's show each other love. Let's spread this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And they talk about let America be great again. Let Israel be great
Hallelujah.
again. Hallelujah. But also speaking on the subject, I've seen that whenever we do speak on the truth and we shed light on who we are, we empower one another, and that's that fear. We went through 400 plus years of oppression, and even Thomas Jefferson himself said, when there's multiple presidents, the unification of black people, even though we don't consider our blacks black, that's scary. That's a deadly weapon. And just us coming together should be a positive thing. But those on the outside looking in, they fear that because of the oppression and things that they put us through. They're afraid that we'll turn around and do the same things. But as being God-fearing individuals and following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, we need to take advantage of that. And just what happened to Nick Cannon, I have been following that. Also followed the Deshaun Jackson thing. I feel like when we're in a position where we speak up on and we're stating facts about us as people and we're speaking on things, we should not apologize. We've been going through imprisonment and going through this system of injustice for 400-some years, and we have yet to get one apology. We shouldn't be apologetic for expressing how we feel when it's genuine and it's coming from the heart. But again, I love you all who hear my voice right now. Let's continue to spread this message of love and get God's message out there. We're making an impact right now, and that's what they're afraid of.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for calling in. I'll
Shalom,
speak to
shalom.
you. Shalom, shalom. There you go. You see? My brother come with the words of wisdom. What's that you showing us, Brother Zion?
The Encyclopedia Britannica says the term anti-Semite is a misnomer since it's applied exclusively to European Jews, and the term Semite also includes Arabs and peoples of North Africa.
All right, let me read it. Let me see. Let me read it. Leave it right up there. Leave it right up there. You had it nice and focused. Anti-Semitism. Hostility towards a discrimination against Jews as a religious or racial group. The term anti-Semitism was coined in 1879 by the German agitator Wilhelm Marr to designate the anti-Jewish campaigns underway in Central Europe at that time. Although the term now has wide currency, it is a misnomer since it implies a discrimination against all Semites. Arabs and other peoples are also Semites.
Done.
That's their definition.
Yep. The Encyclopedia Britannica tells you
Right.
the very term anti-Semite is a misnomer, meaning you can't even use it.
So they taking it and they running with it, and they making it seem like people And by the way, that guy William, that guy that started
Yeah.
using it, what's his name again?
Wilhelm Marr.
Marr. He's a German agitator
Right.
who he used that against, I believe, the Jews, right?
Right.
So
Right.
all of these people are they just took things and run with it. Hold on, this is somebody else calling from Missouri. Shalom, shalom. Who am I speaking with?
This is Ima Hadura. How are you this evening?
Hey, how you doing, Ima Hadura?
I'm loving your program. Listen, I just want to say that all of this is being orchestrated by the hand of Yah. And our timing is upon us. Our time is here as we began to stand as a people. We no longer can allow these people to identifying us by color as being black. We no longer can stand back and use the lie to identify ourselves. There's no such thing as anti-Semitic.
That's
The
right.
word in the word is Shemitic. We're
Right.
Semites. We're not Semites. You see? So we got to come out of the shadow of the lie and take back the naked truth. We got to come forth. We're God's people. We're His chosen ones. We've got to stand and speak as one voice. We have got so far. We've done much work on behalf that leads up to now. We have contacted global leaders declaring our nationhood. We've sent our flag, our national flag, out to global leaders. Our flag is being raised all over the earth as we speak. The only thing we've got to do now is come together here in America. From all indications, Yahudah is here. Yahudah has to lead the way. Our people globally are waiting for this black man here in America, woman and child, to step forward because that's the order that Yah put in place. Our time is here. The Almighty told us to be strong and of good courage. Fear not, and know that He is with us. We have to stand up, speak up. It's time out for lip service. It's time out for posting all these emojis on social media. It's time for us to come forth and let our voice be heard as one voice, speaking on behalf of our people, one nation, the nation of Israel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Ima. So yeah, I have it's very important also. Oh, and for the people online, because I do feel bad for pulling out my brother Zion away from his class, and he's a teacher. He gets paid for doing what he does. This is his job. This is not a plaything. My brother Zion, can you please, if you feel it in your heart to send him a donation, please do. Can you give them your Cash App, my brother, and your PayPal, because I am taking him away from his time. And we never do this for money. We never ever do this for money. But I do want my brother, if y'all find it in your heart to help him out, to please send something to him so that he could to make up for what he's missing out with his class today. So can you please give them that information, brother?
Thank you very much, Chief. That definitely helps because we do a lot of things in the community. We lead museum tours. We go on trips to various parts of the country to do, lectures. We put together lectures locally. So, any support absolutely helps. So my Cash App would be Zion, Zion, Lexx, Lexx, 2 X's, Zion Lexx. Same thing for my PayPal. It's also Zion Lexx.
Okay, Zion Lexx. So PayPal is not an email, it's just Zion Lexx. When you go to PayPal, it's just Zion Lexx.
PayPal is ZionLexx@gmail.com.
ZionLexx@gmail.com. So that's for everyone out there. Please, help to support brothers who put in the work, take their time out. Our brother Zion is always busy. So listen, it's important. Now, I want to come up with something, a hashtag. Maybe we could come up with some type of hashtag, some type of something to show that we support brother Nick Cannon. So I want y'all to type in all your hashtags in the comment. I don't know, Brother Zion, if you could come up with one and we come up with the best one, and we repost what really a Semite is. You know what I'm saying? We need to
Right.
we need to streamline this so that they understand that we understand what a Semite is. And what he did is not, it wasn't what the comment that he made was not an anti-Semitic comment. You feel what I'm saying?
Not at all.
So we need to come up with a hashtag. I know that us as people, we're very creative. So let's come up with some hashtags. I don't know, Chief, if you want to come up with a hashtag, but let's come up with a hashtag of support to Nick, and also hashtag I'm not anti-Semite. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But we
Right.
need
We
a
can definitely do
hashtag.
that.
Yeah.
We could definitely do that.
Need to come up with a hashtag. So hashtag real brews. Somebody put hashtag. They coming fast now. They coming fast. They putting them up. And let me see. Hashtag no banning Nick Cannon. Hashtag Cannon speak truth. Hashtag true brews. No banning Nick Cannon. Hashtag true Hebrews. Hashtag no banning Nick Cannon. So whatever we come up with, we could put up there. So my brother Zion, I really appreciate. I don't think anybody else has anything else to say. I think this program was important. I really, we really needed to talk and discuss about this. We need to do reports like this when things happen on the spur of the moment. I think that the community needs us. I think we've done enough for people to trust what we're doing. They keep coming. Hashtag real Semites with Nick. Hashtag I'm Semitic too. People are very creative. So we're going to choose one of those, and we're going to go from there. Maybe I'll put it as a poll on Facebook, and then the one that we choose the most, that's the one we run with. And myself, and Chief Avdiel, Brother Zion, we're gonna sit down and maybe come out with a streamlined, written, maybe like a written form of explaining why we are not anti-Semitic, and why we are, and why we believe, and why we know we are Semitics.
That's right.
Or Semitic, as the Ema put it, Semites, right? But so that's for everyone out there. So if we don't have any more calls, thank you, my brother, for taking time.
I want to show you something in closing before I leave, Chief.
Absolutely.
So this is a painting from the Akkadians. In the painting, not only do they depict themselves as a people of color, but they depict their gods as a people of color. That's very important.
Right.
Very important. This shows you that the Semite people were clearly and are clearly a people of color. This is the earliest representation of Semites anywhere in history. Right. Long before Abraham's story is told, we can find paintings of earlier Semites, earlier than Father Abraham. And this is how they are depicted in art. You can find this online. It's called the Mari mural painting, the Mari mural painting. Mari mural painting, Acadia.
Mari mural painting, Acadia. So, brother Zion, my brother, thank you for joining me. Our people are very creative. Hashtag Israelite Lives Matter. Hashtag we know who we are. Hashtag the gig is up. The jig is up. Hashtag Asiatic back at it. Asiatics back at it. So it's a lot. So we're gonna go from there. Thank you, my brother, once again. Thank you for everyone joining us online. Give them your information, your Cash App information one more time, so that just in case.
That's Cash App, Zion Lex, $ Zion Lex, ZIONLEXX, 2 X's, LEXX.
Let
And
me
my
put it.
PayPal would be zionlex@gmail.com.
Lex, Cash App. I'm putting it up here before we end out. And your PayPal is Gmail, right?
Yeah, zionlex@gmail.com.
ZionLex@gmail. Gmail.com. I type very slow, so.
Me too.
That's for everyone out there that would like to donate. Let me just put my info up there. Uzi now 40. That's Cash App. So that's for everyone out there that would like to contribute to our whole thing. Thank you, Brother Zion. I appreciate you this evening. May the Most High God bless you and keep you, my brother. And may the Most High God be with everyone out there. We thank everyone for joining us. Shalom, shalom. And everyone have a blessed night. Hallelujah.